Welcome to the UCM Interface Bible Study dito sa 702 DZAS FEBC Radio TV. Agapay ng Sambayanan. Isa itong conversational expository Bible study program hatid sa inyo ng UCM Interface, ang Young Adults Ministry ng Union Church of Manila. We do our best to study context and let Scripture speak for itself. Ang programang ito ay isang teaching ministry ng Union Church of Manila, a church of many nations committed to making disciples who are transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Before we begin, why don't we do a little bit of introductions? People in your neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm a fund manager.
Ako naman si Rainier. I work full-time at Union Church of Manila as the Young Adult Ministry Director.
And ako si Gutch, isa akong commercial voice artist. Okay, today we're gonna start off with a new book study, the Book of Daniel. Ito ay isang very short, very popular Old Testament book. Sobrang daming prophecies dito, heavily referenced dun sa Book of Revelation. Medyo exciting yung narrative dito, daming twists and turns, medyo ma-action. Maraming popular terms din tayo na ginagamit today na galing sa kwento ng Daniel. Tinapon siya sa Lion's Den.
Pretty popular.
Ginagamit siya everywhere. That's in Daniel. And then yung the writing on the wall.
Sam Smith.
Pag alam mong parang everybody can see na yari na tong situation na to, yung business na to, itong tao, yung relationship nila, parang yari na yata. Parang ganun, writings on the wall. Ayun, galing din dito sa Daniel yan. And then nandito din a very popular story, The Fourth Man in the Fire. Yung mga kaibigan ni Daniel na tinapon dun sa furnace. And then biglang the fourth man was there. Dito rin galing yan. So maraming iconic stories dito. Okay, before we begin, let's do a little background of the situation that's happening. Historically, ano na nangyari sa Israel right at this time? Para sa mga listeners natin, pag sinabing BC, it's counting down. So 600, 599, 598, all the way to year 0. And then AD, counting up, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 2019. Alright, 605 BC, si Nebuchadnezzar, naging king ng Babylon. And then later that year, nagkaroon siya ng campaign, swept into Palestine, surrounded Jerusalem, tapos ginawang vassal state yung Judah. Tapos a display of power, ang ginawa niya, he took the cream of the crop, yung pinaka-pogi, pinaka-magaganda, pinaka-matatalino from the Jews, at dinala niya sa Babylon for
education,
indoctrination.
Yeah.
Brainwash.
Right. Brainwash, basically.
Isipin natin na hindi ito, they are not in the order of slaves. Iba yung role nila.
They were well taken care of.
Oo, grabe.
So, ibig sabihin, hindi naman slaves itong sina Daniel tsaka yung mga kaibigan niya. But they were servants in a sort of diplomatic role.
Alam yung term namin dyan sa mga ganyan, mga management trainees yung mga yan eh. Yung tapos magiging future officers and executives. Parang ganun yung dating yan sa banking world.
Nagkakaroon sila ng intensive briefing sa company culture. Parang ganun, di ba? Kasama si Daniel tsaka yung mga kaibigan niya dito and a lot more. And then, few years after, 587 BC, Israel went under captivity na ng Babylon. And then, 586, the year after, yan yung Jerusalem was destroyed.
Sira.
Okay, so we'll go and do a one sweep of the objective, the author, and the audience of this book. Kung nakita mo yung nangyari dito. First chapter pa lang, nangyari yung topic, exile, yung mga gamit ng Jews for worship, present dun sa mga gods, dun sa temple ng Babylon, dun sa mga gods nila. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Ano itsura nun? Parang mahina si
Yahweh.
mahina si Yahweh. So especially in that culture na a god is directly related to the people. Kung ano mangyari sa people, yun yung strength or weakness ng god nila. Yun yung paniniwala. So itsura nito, mahina si Yahweh, di ba? Hindi niya kayang protektahan yung mga tao niya. So Daniel, the author, is telling the other Jewish exiles, the audience, that God is sovereign and in control in the midst of all of this.
That's correct.
In fact, even how Babylon and yung other kingdoms that come after, how they rose to power, lahat yan. Si Lord yung gumawa niyan. They all rose and fell by God's will. Ano yung verse na yun sa, there's a chapter 2, 21?
21, no. He changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings.
By His will, kings rise and kings fall. Diba? Walang magpapatumba kay God. And this will be evident through the narratives from chapter 1 to 6, and then from the prophetic stuff that happens 7 to 12. And why is this important for us to study even today?
Right.
All right, Book of Daniel, nasa 12 chapters. 1 to 6 is a straight-up narrative. Yung first part nasa Babylon, and the next part nasa Persia. Then 7 to 12 is... We will go through the whole of chapter 1. Before we start, why don't we go through our reading? And here we go.
Daniel 1.
In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with some of the vessels of the house of God. And he brought them to the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, and placed the vessels in the treasury of his God. Then the king commanded Ashpenaz, his chief eunuch, to bring some of the people of Israel, both of the royal family and of the nobility, youths without blemish, of good appearance and skillful in all wisdom, endowed with knowledge, understanding, learning, and competent to stand in the king's palace, and to teach them the literature and language of the Chaldeans. The king assigned them a daily portion of the food that the king ate and of the wine that he drank. They were to be educated for 3 years, and at the end of that time, they were to stand before the king. Among these were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah of the tribe of Judah. And the chief of the eunuchs gave them names. Daniel he called Belteshazzar, Hananiah he called Shadrach, Mishael he called Meshach, and Azariah he called Abednego. But Daniel resolved that he would not defile himself with the king's food or with the wine that he drank. Therefore, he asked the chief of the eunuchs to allow him not to defile himself. And God gave Daniel favor and compassion in the sight of the chief of the eunuchs. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, "I fear my lord the king, who assigned your food and your drink. For why should he see that you were in worse condition than the youths who are of your own age? So you would endanger my head with the king." Then Daniel said to the steward, whom the chief of the eunuchs had assigned over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, "Test your servants for 10 days. Let us be given vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance and the appearance of the youths who eat the king's food be observed by you, and deal with your servants according to what you see." So he listened to them in this matter and tested them for 10 days. At the end of 10 days, it was seen that they were better in appearance and fatter in flesh than all the youths who ate the king's food. So the steward took away their food and the wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables. As for these 4 youths, God gave them learning and skill in all literature and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. At the end of the time, when the king had commanded that they should be brought in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king spoke with them, and among all of them none was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore they stood before the king, and in every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters that were in all his kingdom. And Daniel was there until the 1st year of King Cyrus.
Okay, para mas ma-appreciate natin tong storya na to, titingnan natin yung verses 1 and 2 and then 21. They function as story markers.
Okay.
Nagbibigay ng time frame. Ito yung importante na unang makikita natin kapag binasa natin. So halimbawa, verses 1 and 2, anong sinasabi?
In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it.
So nangyari ito nung hari si Jehoiakim. Kailan? On his 3rd year. Okay. Tapos tinapos ito sa verse 21.
And Daniel was there until the 1st year of King Cyrus.
Okay.
Who is from Persia.
Ibang superpower na to. Sinasabi agad in chapter 1 kung ano yung na-cover na period. Ang span nito is around 66 years.
Yeah.
Mahabang taon. Kaya yung kanilang pagka-exile na sinasabi na 70 years of captivity, siguro rounded off figure yun, o they counted or included maybe the first deportation to make it exactly 70. Basta ito na yung estimate ng taon in exile. Pinakita agad sa verses 1 and 2. Ano yung event na nangyari?
Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And
Pumunta na sila dinala na sila sa Babylon. Di ba? At maraming mga binitbit pang mga gamit. Kasi sinabi rin dyan,
Sa verse 2.
articles from the temple of God. Dinala lahat sa Babylon.
And placed the vessels in the treasury of his God.
Okay,
So,
yan.
pinesenta dun sa temple
Okay.
ng Babylonian gods.
Okay. Kaya importante agad yung first two verses na ito. Ang unang tanong natin, bakit nga ba sila dinala? At this point in the history of the nation, wala na yung Northern Kingdom, yung Israel.
Wala na.
Kasi sila, they were attacked by the Assyrians. Tapos sila na yung unang nawala. Ang na-preserve na lang sana ay Judah. Kaya lang, kung ano yung pagkakamali ng Northern Kingdom called Israel, inulit lang nila. Pero tingnan natin kung ano nga ba yung pagkakamaling yon. Basahin natin yung Deuteronomy 28:36-37.
The Lord will bring you and your king, whom you set over you, to a nation that neither you nor your fathers have known. And there you shall serve other gods of wood and stone. And you shall become a horror, a proverb, and a byword among all the peoples where the Lord will lead you away.
May warning na Deuteronomy pa lang. Kailan sinulat yung Deuteronomy?
Wala pa nga silang kingdom eh.
Hindi pa nga sila nakakarating ng Canaan. Panahon pa ni Moses ito.
Right.
Ilang daan taon pa ang lilipas bago pa magkaroon ng nation of Israel. Pero meron na agad babala sa Deuteronomy noong panahon na yon. At ano yung sinasabi ulit ng warning?
Deuteronomy 28:15. But if you will not obey the voice of the Lord your God, or be careful to do all his commandments and his statutes that I command you today, then all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. ...
Kapag hindi raw sila
Naging
faithful kay Yahweh, ito ang mangyayari sa kanila. Dadalhin sila sa ibang nasyon. At nung 6th century kung kailan nangyari itong mga bagay na to, andyan syempre si Ezekiel. Bawat siglo, di nagkulang ang Panginoon sa paalala tungkol dun sa warning sa Deuteronomy.
Ang kulit pa rin eh.
Di ba?
Yep.
Pero, tinupad ba nila yung utos ng Diyos?
No.
Hindi. And in fact, they started putting trust in other gods and other human rulers.
Yes.
Ito yung naging dahilan kung bakit sila na-deport. Ngayon, balikan natin yung verse 2. This introduces an overarching theme. Kasi may kita nyo dyan, yung phrase na, and the Lord delivered into the hand. Diba? What is the suggestion? Tapos tingnan nyo rin yung verses 9a and then 17a.
And God gave Daniel favor and compassion in the sight of the chief of the eunuchs.
Okay, 17a would be...
God gave them learning and skill.
God delivered, God
Gave.
God gave.
This was God moving throughout all this.
Pinapakita agad sa atin yung tema that it is God who is always moving. He is the one doing the action.
Right.
Minsan hindi obvious. Pero yun ang gustong ipakita sa atin ng libro na to.
Kasi ang ganda nga yung first pa lang eh. The Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into Nebuchadnezzar's hand. What? Even the defeat of his people.
Not because the enemy was winning. He was letting
it's
you know
really...
it's part of his
it's
big
part of his
plan.
plan.
Pero ano pa yung nasama doon?
Some of the vessels of the house of God, he brought them to the land of Shinar, to the house of his God.
Anong implication nito? Ito yung mga vessels na ginagamit sa
Worship.
pagsamba kay Yahweh. Bakit pati ito tinangay? At saan nilagay? Sa treasure house nung Diyos ni...
Nebuchadnezzar.
That's like super bastos, diba?
Okay, ano nang isipin mo, ano mararamdaman mo kung ikaw ay isa dun sa mga Hudyo na yon?
Wala na pag-asa siguro.
There would be hopelessness.
Pinapaktapakan yung Diyos natin eh.
Iniingat-ingatan namin to. Bakit yan pati natangay? Talo na ba tayo? Talong-talo na ba talaga tayo ng Diyos ng Babylon? Magkakaroon talaga ng hopelessness. And you will keep grieving because that's it. Lahat na ng symbols of the nation, of our religion, of our faith, wala na. Talong-talo na tayo talaga. At saka medyo challenge ito para sa mga Jews because they're no longer in their territory. Alam mo, may konsepto yung mga ancients ng parang gods are localized. Meron lang siyang territory. Paano kung lumabas ka na sa territory mo, may kapangyarihan pa ba siya? Wala ng territory. Ultimo yung ginagamit sa pagsamba sa kanya, inangkin na. Wala na talaga. Kaya nga, importante na makita natin na no, behind the scenes, God is moving and doing something. This should give encouragement to the Jews in captivity.
Right.
verses 3 to 7. Dito, pinakilala tayo sa isang official, ang pangalan niya si Ashpenaz. Okay.
Ashpenaz.
Ano yung inutos sa kanya?
Bring some of the people of Israel, both of royal family and of the nobility.
Yung mga pipiliin, galing saan sila?
Royal family and of
O, sabi may pedigree. Hindi lang kung sino-sinong Israelite, dapat yung galing pa sa royalty o sa nobility. Ano pa yung mga qualifications?
Youths without blemish.
Okay.
Good appearance, skillful in all wisdom,
Right.
endowed with knowledge, competent to stand in the king's palace.
All right. So this seems like it's a total package.
Physical, mental,
appearance. Okay.
overall.
etiquette.
Kaya kailangan kumuha dun sa nobility.
Right.
Oo.
Sila yung mga well-bred. Eh.
Tsaka ito yung educated. Bakit kailangan maging total package dapat?
Kasi I guess sila yung magiging diplomatic relations.
Oo.
Government
oo.
servants. Nung,
Oo. Pwede rin namang basta matalino lang eh. Pero bakit kasi may physical appearance pang kasama?
something that would wow the kingdom.
Importante yun. Kasi kung ang haharap dyan, ni walang appeal, o sige, magaling nga, pero hindi naman magaling magsalita. Hindi yan papansinin eh.
Alright.
Walang impact yan.
Mm.
So ito, this branding speaks of power, of influence. Kaya kailangan maganda yung ihaharap mo.
Right.
Ang frontline mo, dapat magagandang mga tao at matatalino. Okay, ngayon, ano ba yung ituturo sa kanila?
Teach them the literature and language.
Of the Chaldeans or
Chaldean.
Babylonians. Anong impact nito? Maganda ba to? This would be the best education one could ever receive.
Also mean denying their heritage. Brainwash sila, di ba? Tatanggalin mo yung dati mong alam. Kasi mas maganda yung sa amin. Eh.
Bukod pa dun sa education, ano pa yung isasama sa verse 5?
Daily portion of the food that the king ate and of the wine that he drank.
It's very holistic kasi pati pagkain, diet. Bakit
Interesting,
kailangan yun?
Pinapamper din sila to love
So
Babylon.
this is by the standards of Babylon, of course. Diba?
Siyempre,
Oo.
mamahalin.
In fact, they're probably very, very young. There are other scholars who say that they're probably around 15 years old.
Yeah, I was thinking nga
ganito.
mga ganun eh.
Oo, napakabata nito. Well-built daw. Kasi kung titingnan nila yung mga pictures na ginagawa noon sa Babylon, you know, those hieroglyphics, mga drawings na sa wall,
Pretty much bulk.
muscular yung itsura ng mga batang ito. Ito na, pagdating natin sa verse 6, pinili dito mga taga-Judah ng mga kabataan at sino-sino sila.
Si Daniel, si Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
At anong ginawa sa kanilang mga pangalan?
Pinalitan.
Pinalitan.
Si Daniel naging Belteshazzar. Si
Okay.
Hananiah, he was called Shadrach. Mishael became Meshach.
Meshach.
And Azariah became Abednego.
Tingnan natin yung Daniel, which means God is my judge, became Belteshazzar, which means may Bel. Bel is the name of a god. Protect his life. It's a
Okay.
Babylonian god. Si Hananiah, his name means God is gracious. Became Shadrach. Well, the meaning is unknown, pero mukhang itong pangalang Shadrach has reference to the pagan god Marduk. Tapos yung si Mishael, who is what God is, naging Meshach. Hindi rin alam kung ano talaga yung exact meaning
Nung Meshach.
nung Meshach, pero possibly connected also with the god Marduk. Tapos si Azariah, his name means Yahweh has helped, became Abednego, which means servant of Nebo, a Babylonian god. From education to diet to their names, ano yung punto nito?
It's a totally modification of their identity, no?
This is
Oh.
cultural, religious, social assimilation.
Right.
Halimbawa yung pagpasok ng Spaniards sa Pilipinas, ano bang ginawa? In-introduce ang
Catholic.
Catholicism, nag-ibang religion. Ano ba nangyari sa mga pangalan ng mga Filipinos?
Binigyan ng
Spanish.
Nabago lahat.
Actually.
In fact, na-ban yung sarili nating pagsusulat. Yung
Right.
alibata, bawal na yan.
Right.
Oo. Maganda nga kung bumisita kayo sa Ayala Museum. Pag nakita niyo yung exhibit tungkol sa mga ginto,
yung weaving.
nawala na yung
Grabe
technology
yun.
na yun. Oo. Tapos kinamkam na lang lahat ng ginto.
Medyo
Sa
complex
Pilipinas,
yung
Ibig
technology
sabihin,
na yun eh.
pagdating ng mga Spaniards dito, we already had a flourishing civilization.
Right.
Pero tinakluban talaga nila lahat. Pinatay yung kultura. The best way to defeat them is to destroy the culture.
Right.
Oo, pagpasok din ng mga Amerikano, mass education naman, which the Spaniards deprived us of. Pero anong kapalit? Natural resources.
Yes.
Yung mga ganun, di ba? Ang tawag nga dyan yung benevolent assimilation. Maganda naman ang binibigay namin sa inyo para sila na talaga ang makasakop. Ganun ganitong ginagawa rin ng Babylon, binubura yung
Right.
identity nila.
Relate, ano?
Oo. Oo.
Okay, tapos,
So nakita na natin yung qualifications dun sa admission dun sa Royal School. Pinalitan na rin yung mga pangalan nila. Okay, tuloy pa natin. Dito na tayo ngayon dun sa huling bahagi ng kwento. Maaring may mga hindi magandang nangyayari dito, but something is certain. God is there and He is sovereign. He is moving and He's doing His work. Tapos nakita natin nung andun nga sina Daniel at saka yung mga kaibigan niya dito sa bahaging ito yung cultural, religious, social assimilation na nangyayari. This represents the struggle, or even our struggle today, na may clashes sa ating mga worldview. Tingnan natin yung verses 9 and then 11 to 14.
And God gave Daniel favor and compassion in the sight of the chiefs of the eunuchs.
Tapos sa 11, Daniel said to the steward, whom the chief of the eunuchs had assigned over the 4 of the guys, test your servant for 10 days. Let us be given vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance and the appearance of the youths who eat the king's food be observed by you, and deal with your servants according to what you see.
Okay. Pero kasi di ba sa verse 8 din, meron na agad resolution itong si Daniel that he will not defile himself with the food.
Right.
Di ba? Yung Babylonian cuisine, hindi pwede sa amin yan. Doon pa lang, meron na siyang desisyon. Bakit ba importanteng maging resolute? Kapag resolute ka, meron kang
Backbone.
hindi ka spineless na tao. May paninindigan ka kasi.
And also, meron kang set of beliefs na something that you've analyzed as like what's right or wrong.
Kailan ba nakikita ang resoluteness ng isang tao?
Pagka binigyan ng desisyon na malaki.
But is this something that you work yourself into kapag na-present sa yung isang malaking task?
No.
Hindi. It's something na you developed from small decisions.
Okay. 15 years old pa lang si Daniel dito. Ibig sabihin, kailan siya nagsimula na patatagin?
Bata pa.
Bata pa. At sino kaya ang responsible dito? It's his family, his parents.
Oo nga.
Sa tingin ko dito, pinalaki siya talaga ng tama ng mga magulang niya.
Oh.
Di ba?
Oo nga.
Hindi naman to binanggit sa kwento, pero sino pa bang aasahan ng isang bata
Right.
para mahubog siya?
So his family must really be God-fearing.
Maaari.
Oo.
Di ba? Meron din naman kasing natira sa Judah na very God-fearing pa rin. Kasi nakita natin dito kay Daniel, he has his worldview as a Jew, as a follower of Yahweh. Nag-clash doon sa worldview ng Babylon. So ngayon, parang ganun din tayo eh. May worldview tayo as Christians, pero nagka-clash ito dun sa secular worldview na nagiging predominant na rin dito sa Pilipinas.
Yes. Diba dito sa verse 4, teach them the literature and language of the Chaldeans. May mention dito sa mga commentary na binabasa ko na kasama dyan sa mga literature and language, scientific omens. Which is like,
What?
omens
Scientific?
and scientific, parang medyo separate items yan eh. Pero dito sa kanila, scientific omens na basically we would consider
Yeah.
superstition.
That's true.
Ano ba?
Yeah, and you were talking about evolution. Na dati, ang belief sa evolution kasi became from a simple form of life. Pero ngayon, with further studies in science, nakita nila, teka lang, down to the cellular level, napaka-complex na pala. There's no such thing as simple. Ngayon, nagkaroon tuloy ng argument ng there must be an intelligent designer. Marami na tuloy nababasag na dating pinaniniwalaan about evolution. Kaya mahirap nga na mag-stake ka ng claim mo about science na as if it's the answer to everything. Parang
Right.
ito na ang lahat.
Which goes back to your question, yung challenge of raising children na makikipag-dialogue sa
Right.
ganong mundo.
Oo. Okay. Pero dahil resolute na siya sa simula pa lang. So ano yung ginawa ng Diyos para kay Daniel sa verse 9?
God gave Daniel favor and compassion in the sight of the chief of the eunuchs.
Sa NIV naman, God had caused the official to show favor and compassion to Daniel. Pinakita dito na matatag na yung bata, may paninindigan na yung bata. At dahil may paninindigan na siya, sinuportahan pa siya ng Diyos.
Right.
Very faithful na itong si Daniel kay Yahweh. Maski bata pa siya, faithful na siya. And I believe God honored it. And God honored it by causing the official to show favor and compassion to Daniel. Daniel did not oppose the idea of having his name changed.
Right.
Diba? Hindi naman niya inoppose yung pag-aaral ng mga Babylonian literature,
Right.
language,
Oo nga.
and possibly also religion and interpretation of dreams.
Oo nga.
Kasama yan. But why was he so insistent that he and his friends be given only vegetables to eat and water to drink instead of the royal food and wine?
Ano to, vegetarian ba to?
Bakit siya tutol na tutol doon?
Merong tatlong perspective dito. First would be obviously diet. It's like a religious diet. Diet nila ng juice, 'di ba? Pero kung diet nga, bakit niya ni-reject yung wine? Okay lang naman 'di ba?
Okay.
'Di ba? Okay lang naman sa kanila. So bakit niya ni-reject pati yung wine? Second, maybe the food was offered to the gods.
I read about that
Diba?
as well.
Diba? Could
Pwede
be.
din.
Pero
Oo.
paano niyo alam na yung veggies hindi na offer sa gods din? Diyos ng mga ayaw maggulay, parang ganun.
Mga carnivore yung gods nila.
And then third, meron din perspective na maybe it's symbolic. Maybe it's like severing dependence from the king. Yung government issue food na yan, vegetables and water na lang kami. Kasi alam niya, pagka fully assimilated siya, game over na siya.
Ang nagbibigay ng confidence dito kay Daniel, yung sovereignty pa rin ni God. Alam niya na Diyos pa rin ang magbibigay ng tagumpay sa kanila. Diyos pa rin ang magbibigay ng security sa kanila, ng protection at ng lahat-lahat kahit wala na sila sa Judah. Kaya nga dito, yung sa pag-ayaw niya dun sa pagkain na binibigay sa kanila, tingnan mo naging resulta. Totoo nga. Naniniwala siya na hindi kami gagaling dahil sa mga binibigay ninyo sa amin. Gagaling kami dahil sa Diyos.
Right.
Okay.
Diba? Dahil kay Yahweh pa rin ito. Siya ang totoong dahilan. Bakit kami magiging successful dito sa Babylon? May paninindigan to. Can you imagine at 15? Ganito ng katibay yung batang ito.
Okay. So, basahin lang natin yung last part.
Ano ba nangyari in the end? Nakita natin na hindi sinunod ni Daniel yung dietary requirements.
Right. And then,
diba?
he became fatter in flesh.
Diba? Ayun ba yung
Interesting.
sinabi dun sa version mo? Fatter in
Fatter
flesh.
in flesh eh.
Oo.
Actually, in-adopt pa
Better
nga
in
yung...
appearance and fatter in flesh. Interesting.
Tapos diba, in-adopt pa nga yung diet.
Pero may kita natin dito na, tignan niyo sa verse 17. God gave knowledge and understanding to these 4 young men.
Yeah.
Diyos talaga ang kumikilos. Kaya nga malakas ang loob ni Daniel eh. Alam niya nandyan ang Diyos eh.
I'd love to even read this. And the king spoke with them, and among all of them, none was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore, they stood before the king. And in every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters that were in all his kingdom.
That's
Ang
correct.
interesting nito na these guys started out exile. Sila yung minority group, tapos biglang sila yung nag-rise.
Right.
And interesting kasi even in the literature and language ng Babylon, they were the best in counsel for those.
That's true.
Pero may kita rin natin na even as they were young, they also knew where to stand.
Right.
Yung resoluteness
Oo.
na sinasabi. So how that teaches me in response to yung kaninang concern ko is like the challenge for me, not just as a parent, but also as for myself. We're sort of living as exiles. Di ba tinuturo sa Hebrews? We are as exiles. Paano ko tuturuan yung family ko na maging pinakamagaling sa dialogue ng what the world teaches, but at the same time, stand resolute in Christ?
Oo. Ang isang ko ring nakita dito, yung pagiging resolute, hindi yan nakasalalay sa'yo. Kasi, ang importante kay Daniel dito, alam niya nandun ang Diyos. How can you make a stand kung mag-isa ka lang? Hindi eh. Hindi mo kaya yan eh. Kaya siya matapang, kaya malakas ang loob niya. Kaya siya resolute. It's because he strongly believes that God is with him. Kahit sa simula pa lang ng kwento, pinakita na wasak na talaga ang temple. Tinangay na nga lahat ng mga vessels na ginagamit sa temple. Pero hindi siya doon nawala ng pag-asa eh. Alam niya nandyan ang Diyos kahit nasa Babylon sila. Kaya ngayon ang iniisip kong magandang isipin natin ngayon eh. We may be living in a society that's slowly becoming very, very secular. Pero hindi nito binubura ang Diyos eh.
Yeah.
Andyan siya palagi.
And it is only by God's will
Right.
that they rise.
Oh, it's His grace. I can try so hard to be resolute, but if I don't believe in the presence and the sovereignty of God, mahina pa rin ako.
I guess yung analogy that I would put is, solid ka nga tumayo, pero yung tinatayuan mo naman.
Oh, burak, nalulubog ka. Di ba?
Diba?
Oo.
But if we stand on
A
everlasting
strong foundation.
foundation, then you will never be shaken.
That's true. So, hindi ang credit kay Daniel eh.
Oh, yeah.
Hindi talaga
Oo.
eh. Hindi rin ang credit sa atin.
Yes.
Oh, na may panindigan ako. Hindi yon ang punto nito. This is all about God, His sovereignty, who He is.
Yeah.
Well, I just find this very encouraging because in the corporate world, which is a very secular setup, na I don't have to separate Christianity and excellence. Alam mo, it goes hand in hand. I can show God's excellence and God will stand with me and I don't have to compromise anything, diba, in the workplace. I just find that very comforting.
Work is worship.
Diba?
As we wrap up chapter 1, and it ends with, and Daniel was there until the first year of King Cyrus. Yung spoiler na he will outlast this big bully. And I think yung message for us as believers today, we will outlast all the powers that go against God. Not because of our strength.
Exactly.
In fact, we're pretty weak. But it's because our God is everlasting.
That's
and
true.
Unshakable.
Yes.
And that's it.
Okay.
Join us for chapter 2 next episode. See you. See you.
Bye.
You have listened to the UCM Interface Bible Study here at 702 DZAS FEBC Radio TV, Agapay ng Sambayanan. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 702 DZAS FEBC Radio TV, and Facebook account, 702 DZAS FEBC Radio. Hear our full episodes on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, at marami pang iba. Join us at Union Church of Manila, Rada, Corno Legazpi, Makati City.